Welcome to Streaming Rainbow. My name is David Robles, and this is Mythos of War, Journey Through the Pyrenees. These are my wonderful players. Maggie as now Dr. Elliot Fowler. Gabby as Rosalia Montague. Bastion as Alicia Torres, also known as Brujita. And Julia as Flynn Kajka. And Bastion as Avery Ace Marsh.
Bastion's got two characters. David, go
Sorry.
ahead again.
And Lucas. Sorry, all you white guys look the same to me. Speaking of white guys, we are covering a very terrible subject matter. And I will handle it with more grace and care than I just did that joke. This is a very intense subject. Please take care of yourself. It is one that has a frightening amount of parallels and relevancy in our current world. So please do what you need to do to protect your mental health and protect your peace. That being said, I and each one of the cast members understand the seriousness of this subject. And although we can't quite change who we are, there will be some levity in some scenes and in some parts where we kind of just need to laugh to break the tension. There will be none of that, and there will be making no light of any of the pretty serious worst crimes of humanity. So they won't understand that we are doing everything we can to treat this topic with care and sensitivity, and that any mistakes we do make, which we will be accidental or incidental, and that in addition, the subject matter of the Basque people and Franco-Spanish occupation is also one that is there are still people alive who suffered under those systems of oppression. And again, I've done as much research as I think is pretty reasonable and understandable to make sure that I deal with those cultures and those issues sensitively. That being said, this is your one-shot players to introduce yourself and pitch anything you want. Maggie.
My name's Mags Curry. You can find me at Magneto795 on most socials, or you can find me at Curry_creative7 on Instagram.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Yeah, Maggie does a lot of really great work for the channel, a lot of our digital design, and we love them so much. You got anything to pitch, Gabs?
I'm Gabby, she, her. I'm a mystery.
Go check out the backlog of Concentricity and whatever other one-shots. Gabby's a great breakout star in the AP space. Book them for your stuff. Julia?
Hello, my name is Julia Labusch. I use any pronouns. You can follow me on Instagram at queenjulia_11. I also have a YouTube channel, which is just my name, Julia Labusch. Figure out how to spell it. Yeah.
Cool. And you can find all that information down below, as well as Lux's other channel that he streams once a month and periodically does games and other stuff, as well as Bastion in the AM. They don't get to pitch because they are founders along with me, and you can find all of our promotion stuff all over SR, including in the Discord, where you can interact with us and potentially star in a Streaming Rainbows production. Yeah, please follow us on socials, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Keep up with what we're doing. We're really creating a pretty cool community that is steadily growing, and we're very, very, very proud of. Very inclusive, except to bastards and racists and homophobes and transphobes and like most of the phobes. You're pretty much not welcome. You could stay away. All Right. I think that wraps that up. Uh, let's begin. We enter scene into a small propeller plane somewhere around an hour or so before sunrise. The sky is just getting that really, really light shade of purple right on the horizon. The sun is coming, but it's quite not illuminating off the coast yet. It's a small propeller plane. No mounted guns or weapons. No bombs to drop. There is room for maybe 6 people in this plane, and currently there are 3. Dr. Elliot Fowler, Rosalia Montague, and Dan Darling are flying into an unnamed, unremarkable, at least it would seem to the outside world, field just south of a small mountain village named San Cristobal, Spain. Gabby, give us a description of what Rosalia looks like and what is going through her mind as we see her for
Rosalia?
the first time since departing the Sophia almost 20 years later.
Rosalia is about 5'11". She has broad shoulders and a strong jaw. She has brown eyes with gold flecks in them, indicative of Montague blood. She is very self-assured and very pragmatic, and right now the only thing that she can think about is rescuing and saving her son.
Yeah. Let's go back to that. The last time you saw Dickie, which was right when you were departing from Europe to move to the United States. There had been growing rumblings that Germany's aggression was not satiated by their land gains in Poland, and that they had their eyes on France and perhaps even all the way to the UK. Neville Chamberlain has been removed, vote no confidence, and Churchill is gearing up the UK war machine, and with that comes pretty much everybody who can scrambling to leave Europe for one of the last few places that is not seeing war right now, which is the United States. Dickie, however, who what looks like, despite his best efforts, still resembles his father so strongly. Whereas Dutch walked with a large power lifter-sized chest, out and proud, chin high, Dickie kind of has an inverted posture with a slouched back a little bit, sort of looking like a crescent moon, and where Dutch took pride every morning in shaving that head and using the straight razor to be clean shaven, and every inch of hair except that large bushy mustache was always removed every morning. Dickie has long, neatly combed, sort of greasy looking hair, nice pomade in it, right? Clean shaven, and unmistakable same green eyes. And where Dutch looked like Hercules himself stepped off the pages, Dickie always seems to be maybe drowning a little bit in his clothes. Maybe he was just a little ahead of his time, liked his oversized suits. But yeah, he just, after days of fighting, I can't. There's too much to be done here. There's too many people that need help. I can't leave. It's not about the money anymore. It's not about the connections or the friends or what I can get out of it. It's, I can do real good here and I'm gonna do it. And Elsie said she's not leaving either, so there's no way I'm leaving her.
I am so proud of you. And I know that your father would be very proud, and I'm very proud of Elsie as well. And I will miss you every moment that I am not with you, but the best thing for me to do is to go to the US. But I want you to know that I love you with my whole heart.
Yeah, we understand. You know, you did, obviously, I love you too, Ma. You did everything you could to take care of us and do everything you can for us, and obviously I'll do everything I can for Elsie and keep her safe, and we'll be all right. We'll be all right. And those words kind of echo in your head as you are flying in. Elliot, it has been 19 years, since the events of the Sophia. 19 years and 3 months, to be exact. Almost exactly 19 years and 3 months since you stepped off that boat. Give us an update on Elliot's appearance.
And
his
Elliot has since
what's going through his mind. Sorry.
Elliot has since the Sophia. His long brown hair is now cut back to about his ears. He keeps it like pulled back or like pulled out of his face a little bit. It's just racing with signs of age, you know, like gray hairs just like scattered all throughout. Crow's feet, like his skin like shows the true age of a man who has worked himself trying to forget the traumas that he endured all that time ago, trying to just move forward without properly addressing any of it. Still kind of very tall, lanky. His clothes like fit him, but like there's still like looseness to it just for how thin he is. And he is sitting there in the plane, fumbling with the chain of his pocket watch, worried that whatever he does, that it might not be enough to get true justice for what happened.
Yeah, and as you think about that pocket watch and the justice that you so desperately want and deserve, but you also think about how your life has been anything but what you've deserved. And it is often, in fact, things that no one deserves that you've had to go through. And you think about the last time you were lost in staring at this watch clicking it at Charlie's funeral, and William Donovan comes in. It's currently there's a wake, and sitting in a pew, small Irish church in New Jersey. It's unfortunately a closed casket. There's a beautiful picture of Charlie on top of the casket, and many people have come through. Charlie was very well beloved amongst the faculty at Princeton, had an incredible...
UPenn.
Sorry, at UPenn. Not Princeton.
Not Princeton.
Not the alma mater.
Absolutely
at UPenn.
not Princeton.
At UPenn. Yeah, Charlie had an incredible relationship with a lot of the faculty. He was very well loved. He gave back to the community in helping with community gardens that started during the Depression, and helping teach low-income children to read and other skills to help them get into colleges as college grants and other forms of the New Deal began to arise, right? So this place had to accommodate a longer wake than usual to shuffle through. But we were sort of at the end here, and it's the kind of thing where you've seen so many faces, you've shaken so many hands, you've heard so many I'm sorries, and each one of them has rang so hollow, because the real way that Charlie died can't be made public. Because the real crime that was committed, as this man who sits next to you described it, was a matter of national security. And this large southern man with his butcher's hands and his stupid 10-gallon hat and his gray suit sit down next to you. My condolences, son.
I appreciate it.
Didn't know much about Charlie, other than what's in your file. But from everything I've learned, he's a great man.
He was the best of us.
Yeah. His
Better
contributions to academia will be missed. Speaking of your file, Dr. Fowler, it's a pretty extensive one on you, in both of my offices, the one at home and the one at work.
You think now's the right time to talk about any of this?
Let me get to the point, and I think you'll agree. All the information we had on this young savant enters Princeton at 12, graduates in 3 years, masters in 3, an additional 3 by 18. One of the most accomplished people in the top 1%. 1% of 1% of the world. Of course you're going to get invited. And at this, he kind of like twirls his ring a little bit. A very familiar ring with a shepherd's crook and some olive branches on the side, and a very familiar Latin phrase.
Mr. Donovan, I find this hardly appropriate given the circumstances right now.
I'll just cut to the chase then. You want to get revenge on the people that did this to your colleague. And you don't need a psychology check to understand the undertone of colleague. Your colleague then call me at my office. Because there's work to be done. And I think you realize more than anything, unfortunately learned faster than the United States, that some conflicts pull us in no matter what. The gravitational pull of some violence is so strong, no one can be spared. And you can either be sucked in despite your desires, or you can walk in head held high with a weapon in your hand. So let me know what you decide, Dr. Fowler.
Thank you, sir.
Once again, my condolences. He stands up, walks to the casket, does a Hail Mary, puts his dumbass hat on, and walks out. And what brings you from that memory is Dan Darling calling from the front. We'll be landing in about 20 minutes. Last contact I heard, the rebels will be meeting you there, and you'll have a guide that should be able to get you to San Cristobal by the morning. And from what I understand, Elsie will be meeting you in a place that I don't know, in case I'm ever captured, and I can't give it up. So, it's been a pleasure. And please, Dr. Fowler, the landing will be as quick as the takeoff, so the package we previously discussed, if you could ensure that gets in the right hands. Thank you.
Absolutely. We appreciate your help, Dan.
Yes. Speaking of said rebels, we will pan out from Dan's windshield in this little twin prop plane down 10,000 feet and swooping into a tree line to a small, and when I say small group, I mean literally 2 people, because to group any more than that is to make a bigger target than necessary. So, Bastion, your team right now, of about, which is your team of 5 right now, because you recently, unfortunately, a member of your team was captured not too long ago, and it is just sort of the part of the business, is spread out in this at the tree line of this field. You have a couple of people out scouting, ensuring no one's followed, double backing, creating false trails, doing all the stuff that you have been doing for about 7 years now. All the things that ever since that fateful night in these mountains that are closer than they've been in that time happened, and your life changed forever. Give us a description of who kneels, stands, sits in the foot of a tree, bushes, next to a young man who I could only describe as a more Spanish-looking young Joseph Stalin.
Yeah, and kneeling next to him is a small woman. She has very short hair cut above the shoulders, and right now she has it down, and it's curls sort of gently around her head. She's supposed to have it up, but she doesn't like the way it feels on her head, so as soon as she's away from any sort of commanding officers or anyone who gives a shit, it immediately comes down.
Which is almost all the time, because as a what is called a helper on the Freedom Trail, Alethea is a Spanish rebel, I guess you would call it, Spanish nationalist, who once the French occupation hit, or the German occupation hit France, has now shifted to helping not just arms or rebels or forms that would help undermine Franco regime, has now shifted to helping political dissidents, Jewish, Romani, any individuals attempting to escape France.
Yeah.
And so is essentially forward deployed 90% of the time.
Yeah. Aside from that, she's wearing essentially what you'd consider like unmarked military gear. She got some Spanish military outfit. It's kind of ill-fitting, big on her, and ripped the patches off of it so it's not marked, and doesn't mark her as a Spanish officer, but provides all of the other weather benefits up in these cold mountains.
Yeah, and the there is particular anticipation because as the Ricardo, who is the young strapping man, very tall, about 5'10", 5'11", tall for the time, he looks like an individual. The word like sinewy was made for this style of man. This is a person who does not eat enough and works too hard. Is running and jumping and pushing and pulling and stabbing and choking and doing these things in the forests of the Pyrenees and the mountains of the Pyrenees day after day, and is clearly not taking in the 5,000 to 8,000 calories they would need to maintain a bulk. So all of their muscle looks as hardened as their eyes, which look over to you, gleaming just beneath the brim of his newsboy cap. And he says, Alethea, this is it. The package that will be delivered. This is what you've been looking for. They will lead us. They will lead us to the hag.
The hag is dead, Ricardo.
Whatever the source of our power.
Let's not put all of our eggs in one basket, okay?
Well,
Do not get your hopes up.
we are running out of baskets, Brujita.
Yes, I know.
Every day we lose more and more people.
And we lose more before the end.
Yes, but if we can, if this can be it, if this is something. I mean, one, it is something because we will be getting the money. 10,000 US in gold is more than enough to feed and supply and recruit. It's the upgrade equipment. This is going to change. No matter what, it's going to change everything.
Yes.
But it could change everything outside of Spain.
It could. Yes.
And you think back to that last communique that you received from Dan Darling that said a package was on its way to you regarding your search. And as most messages relayed from rebels to spies, it was very nondescript for that reason. And as you think of that, the two things... well, first of all, tell me, where does Brujita keep her grimoire?
Yeah, Brujita keeps her grimoire on hand, absolutely. She has basically transferred most of it to a series of nondescript moleskins that she keeps in various pockets in the lining of her military coat.
The original, is it in the same place that you keep that piece of bark?
It is.
Wonderful. You feel that heavy weight of those two items in your pocket as you think just on the edge of your hearing, you hear the sound of propellers. And with that, we will shift from one set of rebels and combatants about 2 to 3, let's call it 150 miles east, to Flynn Kajka. Kajka?
Yep.
Yes. Flynn Kajka and Avery Marsh, who are sitting at a bar in a small village, in a pub, just trying to pass the night before you make the last bits of your trek in the morning to head to San Cristobal. Elsie Montague is at the bar. Sorry, Elsie Franklin is at the bar. Ace, you got your whole team. Some of them are quote unquote on duty right now, so they're on watch. They are not drinking. They are drinking waters with limes in them to make them look like drinks. And they're stationed throughout. And you, however, can be enjoying yourself if you like, because you're the commanding officer. And you're sitting here with Flynn. Flynn, can you... one and the other, I don't really care who goes first. Let's describe what each other is looking at.
You go first.
Okay. So Flynn is I would say like more average built, 5'8" man in his early 20s, maybe more on like the slight unassuming side. Definitely a face that would be easily lost in a crowd. He has short, dark curls, hazel eyes, dark panto glasses. He's just kind of sitting there. He's wearing this military jacket that fits in the sense that it is his size, but like doesn't look like something he was like made for or is particularly comfortable in, but it's what he needs to have for the moment. And he's just not really like looking at anyone. He hasn't like known many of these people for very long. So yeah, he's just kind of like keeping to himself, not really speaking unless spoken to, but trying not to be like too like mysterious or anything.
And Lex, if you could describe Avery Marsh for us.
Yeah. Take a lot of what Flynn was and turn it up. It's like Avery is what Flynn's trying to be, of completely nondescript. There is no way you would be able to pick him out in a crowd. There is no defining features of him. He is as average as possible in looks, in height, in weight, everything. So that there is no attention drawn, and he is just leaning on the bar between Flynn and Elsie to make sure that he is as close to as possible to his job. The only thing that would ever possibly give him his way is that his eyes are constantly scanning areas.
Yeah, the Green Berets are often considered in at least U.S. history as the sort of first iteration of what's called operators, right? Which is a specific type of military specialist who is, their thing is they're not specialists, right? They can kind of do everything. They can scuba, they can parachute, they can, and this is what you think of when you think of Navy SEALs. Those are sort of the like premier operators. Avery Marsh is operator 1.0 for the United States. It is often a misconception that people think SEALs and berets are often like big burly dudes who can like that look like Captain America, when very often they look like very average dudes who have an incredible mental strength to push past normal barriers and do incredible things, right? And that is sort of what Avery and his team have a special skill for, which is what they were doing in the German-occupied France. Sort of running amok, not quite collecting scalps, but notches in their belt for sure. And you, Avery, are thinking about your mission, and you think about the last time you talked to William Donovan. You are in a room alone. You are in a room alone with William Donovan. you were in Marseille, France when you flew in to meet Flynn and the French Free Rebels. And you were in a room alone on a radio frequency, a 1-to-1 isolated radio frequency. Ace, you there?
Yes, sir.
And you're by yourself, right? Go kick the
Yes,
door.
sir. Only one in the room.
All right.
We hope get up and do exactly what he says.
Perfect. Okay. Here's the deal. Got 2 VIPs flying in. I might have heard one of them, Rosalia Montague, one of the richest women in the world. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You might not know this. The Yank, Dickie Germanata, is her adopted son? Some sort of situation. He's been captured. They are paying a lot of money to get escort to a secret Nazi research lab in the Pyrenees Mountains. Their mission is to rescue Dickie. Your mission is to make sure that Elliot Fowler does what the VP needs him to do, which is retrieve Captain Reed's old grimoire, ensure the book, the other whatever fucked up book that Elliot had, gets back in U.S. possession, and any records relevant or important get retained. I want to be clear. We should do everything we can to prevent civilian casualties. You know the deal. That's the government position. We are not in our government jobs. It is the VP's mission to ensure that this information remains secret and obfuscated and not weaponized by our enemies. Do you understand your mission?
Yes, sir.
All right. Signing off. And just outside of that room, alone, Flynn, it was very weird. This man came in with a small strike team. He looked unassuming. Looked like 4 or 5 armed soldiers, clearly American and or British. They ushered him into a room alone in the one radio room you guys have. He spoke to a contact that you're not sure of, and he's in there right now. What's going through Flynn's mind as he's been made aware now that you have the opportunity to meet Brujita, a person you've been making contact with over months, and this is going to be your first deployed. You will not be required to follow into the mountains, right? You're just sort of escorting Elsie and these 2 VIPs to this area. And the idea would be that to have 2 individuals that are sort of like expat locals to create the least amount of to create a party that creates the sort of least amount of awkward or noticeable groups, right? And so giving you people who know the region, introduce the contacts, ensure these like safe handoffs happen. So you found out just before this person came in that you were going to go on your first field mission. You're going to meet your friend Brujita, who you've been making contact with over the last 9 months that you've been here. And then now this guy comes in. They close off a whole room for him. No one's supposed to be in there alone. That's the whole idea of these like radio frequencies, right? That's how you avoid even the chance of spies or things like that, right? It's like no one stays in rooms alone. No one stays with secret information alone. No one stays with these kind of important things. And they said, all right, everybody out. So what's going through Flynn's dome piece? As they think of that in this bar, looking at this unassuming Avery Marsh.
And it was Avery who entered, and then everyone cleared out for him. Okay.
Yes.
And
that was about 3 days ago now. Now you're about 1 day out from, that took a while to get from Marseille to where you are.
Yeah.
In some small village.
Definitely nervous. I mean, I've been nervous the entire time I've been here just due to the nature of what we're doing. For me especially, it's been very emotionally hard just to like hear what things are happening over the radio and to then have to give this information to other people. There's just been a wait for a really long time, but at least I was within the safety of doing it over the radio and not having to actually be there myself. And now I'm like actually there, and I'm happy to do it. It's what needs to be done, but like it's definitely not what I thought I would be doing, and it's scary. And I don't really like know anyone here. You're muted. You're David, you're muted.
One person you do know that is on the other side of you is Linda Atwell, your
Yes.
commanding officer, who has also escorted this mission. Again, that sort of signifies how important this was, right? It was this the idea that you guys even leave your base of operations is insane. The idea that arguably the best code breaker in the world, and certainly the best code breaker in that location, and the commanding officer would head out on a field mission, particularly one that, although it's not supposed to be necessarily super dangerous, there is sort of no place that's not dangerous anymore in this region, right? It really belies the importance of this.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're in that thought process, Linda kind of comes up next to you and is like, I just want to go home. We need to drop these people off tomorrow. And I really want to go back to the office and look at my sheets of paper and write my little messages and do that thing. This is awful. And this is a very severe, pencil-thin woman with a bit of like a larger nose that maybe belies a personal heritage that gives them an incentive to be involved in this kind of fight. And is as neurodivergence is about 40 years from being a popular term or even in the common American lexicon. But it is alive and well in this person's spirit.
Oh yeah.
In 1941.
Yeah, and I definitely feel a kinship with her in that. Yeah.
And as she drinks, is not touching the glass, has a handkerchief around it, and takes a sip and places it directly back in the same spot.
Right there with you, ma'am.
Yes. These Americans, I'm like, yeah, we need the money. It's great. Awful, awesome. But I am so sick of these private missions for the highest bidder. What are we doing? Who's gonna not? Where could these resources go? And who's gonna not make it because somebody had to get their precious little boy back?
They're going good places. The guy we're saving he's helping.
Yeah, and he's one guy. And there's already 3 people replacing what he's doing. How many families? What's the number?
You're going above my pay grade, ma'am. I
don't know. You try to do good, but
we are doing good.
Are we? Is there any good in war? Or is there just the best you can?
We're saving who we can. That's what I came here for.
Yeah, I guess. And that somewhat like painful silence is broken as 2 German officers enter the bar. Everybody in the bar, give me a not deception. I know this game.
Persuasion, charm.
Yeah, give me a persuasion roll. No, you can give a charm, or a disguise if you have that, or a stealth.
I'm doing stealth.
Whatever.
Oh, it's happening again. 80.
To counterbalance that, I got an extreme success on charm.
Thank God.
Great. That's actually great. Let me roll a couple die as well. Glad we started with Julia's awful rolls. Really set the bar.
First roll
in
always
hell.
has to be the worst, you know?
Yeah, set the bar in hell. Only up from there.
And that's
Okay,
Julia
I
always
also rolled an extreme success for Elsie, who, hey, guess what? One of the greatest actresses in the world. Pretty good at this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, these individuals come up to the bar because they see one of the most famous actresses in the world, who is rumored to begin. It is rumored that the German government is attempting to negotiate terms for her to star in one of their next productions. Fräulein Franklin. Oh, we are big fans. And as these two gentlemen sort of like hurriedly move past, Flynn, you try to like disappear into the background.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I have like a cap that I'm just gonna try to like.
Yeah, and as you do that and you like kind of take a step back, you accidentally trip one who falls into the other. Hey, that's a callback, kids. You trip one who falls into the other, and falls into Elsie's arms, who then effortlessly swings him around and dips him and says in the charm only her father could pass genetically, "Oh, well, typically, good sir, I'm in this position. I'm in the opposite position, but it's wonderful to meet you too."
Quick
And
question.
with that,
Are they
what's up?
speaking German or English?
They're speaking German, but I'm speaking English because I don't speak German.
Right. No, I figured. I would. No,
Or actually, I would say they're probably speaking French, like a really bad French.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just immediately just je suis désolé, monsieur.
No, nobody's paying attention to you. You are able to
Okay,
get away.
that's probably better.
Yeah.
All right.
That the two extreme successes overcome your failure.
Thank you.
You are able to. You feel immediate. Linda kind of grabs your arm and is just like, because you guys aren't
really
known,
good lands from Avery too. Of like,
yeah, you aren't known combatants, but you are certainly. And as much as like there's no identifying insignia and you don't have much, if captured, you have enough information to do a lot of damage.
Yes.
So anyways,
Okay, so
you
I
move
didn't
forward with
say
that. Elsie gives a dip to this man, picks him up, and he kind of he's so red. This German tomato, that is sort of what drove from his mind being accidentally tripped or bumped into. He is like embarrassed and charmed to all hell, right? This is like is an incredibly beautiful woman. That's probably 10 years his junior. Elsie's 18 years old with curly, she has like bright red hair that is done in that like very 1940s where it's like hot combed down and there's just like the curls at the bottom. She has her mother's very like strong facial features, very sort of like belying perhaps some like British monarchy back in the blood, right? Sharp jaw, high cheekbones, a bit of a larger nose. But the Irish heritage of her father shines through in the like many freckles that are covering her nose and the bridge of her nose and her cheeks, as well as the hair, obviously. Elsie, despite the gargantuan nature of her mother and father, and I mean that as a positive, is however kind of slight, is pretty tall for a woman of the age, is still 5'7", but is built more like her grandmother Lucinda, which is a more traditional whitefish thin kind of size that does well on the stage. So,
David,
what's up?
as part of my charm, can I be able to move all of the 2 officers and Elsie and myself to the bar to seclude us a bit and give some sort of sign to my men of check if there's more around?
I love that. Yeah. Give me a stealth check real quick, just to and you get an advantage because of the charm. So add an extra 10, and that'll give you that.
That was a 9. So
perfect. Yeah. They are. I'll give.
I'll grab them and speak in German, "Möchtest du ein Bier?" and walk them over.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll say you even have hand signals, right, with your men, and you can be doing that as you wrap your arms around. And they read that to check the perimeter, right? And so they'll do that, and we'll check in on that as they roll those checks. Okay. You guys are sitting at the table. It's working out very well. Oh, Fräulein Franklin, that is, what business do you have in the Basque region? Elsie answers, oh, darling, I'm visiting some family. They, however, won't cross into France because... And she kind of makes a face of you get it. But my mother desperately wanted to see me, and we decided to meet up in a supposedly neutral place. And she says with a pleasant but somewhat biting smile. This German officer is taken a little bit back by the forwardness of this woman, ever her mother's daughter, and responds, sorry, I read your message and now I completely lost track of my thoughts.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Yes, the nastiness, well, there are certain people who, there are very, very many who believe that they can defend themselves and do what is necessary, but as the actions of the Third Reich will show, the French people were in desperate need of protection. And the Fuhrer was gracious enough to extend that to the French people, and would hope to extend that to the Spanish if they would acquiesce. Madam Elsie responds and says something along the lines of, yes, the free formation of nations and their defense and what protection means is certainly geopolitical chatter that a dumb actress like me is not my forte, so I'll leave that up to the uniformed men. And during that time, Avery, you see there is no one, there is no other perimeter. This is seems to be communicated to you that this is 2 guys off duty. And that goes through the conversation. And you see one of these guys getting closer and closer to Elsie. And not in a violent way, but begins to rub up on their arm. There begins to be aggressive pouring of drinks.
Well, I was about to say, can I go and offer I know Andrea, and can I go get you another beer from the bar? Mine here.
Yeah, and he's yes.
Okay.
Another pitcher, please.
And
he kind of just gives some money. He's not even looking. He's super locked in on Elsie.
Mm-hmm.
But his companion will go with you.
Okay, that's fine.
And
I will get one big pitcher and then hand him another one.
Yeah, and so they all have steins. Flynn, is there anything you would like to do as you see any of this happening?
Just trying to keep Elsie in my line of sight in the event that I have to intervene. But I am just like trying to stay mostly in the back with Linda, really not draw attention to myself, because like this is the fear. This is the exact thing I did not want to happen is me as a Jewish man being in a room with these people.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Yeah, give me a psychology roll really quick.
just hoping they leave quickly. Okay, so the curse is not continuing that much. That is a 58 on an 80.
That's just a regular success?
Yeah.
Elsie is leaning into this man. And is like maybe drunk a little bit.
Okay.
Is starting to like sway.
Do I get the sense that she's like playing into it, or is there like a problem?
With a 58, that's what you see. That she's probably a little drunk and is beginning to, you don't know whether it's like playing into it or is just kind of like maybe hit the sauce a little too hard. She does have a very like socialite partier reputation.
Yeah.
Elsie maybe developed the drinking habits of Dutch despite not them being around.
Is it possible for me to like get eye contact with her?
Yeah, give me a stealth check to try to do that without alerting the individuals.
I'm not like trying super hard. It's just like if she happens to glance my way, I want to just give her like a "you good" kind of thing.
Hey, it's a war game, baby boy.
Okay, 62.
Is that a success?
No, I have a 40.
Give me 1 second. This man gets up from his seat.
I don't know how I would push trying to get eye contact. We'll leave it.
You can try to like bang your glass. You could try to like do a little like low whistle. Like that's what I'm saying. That's what a push is though, right? It's let me do the thing to get this one person's attention that hopefully misses the other people, but it's risky. That's the idea of a push.
Yeah. I think I'm
But if it goes bad...
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm
like,
gonna
I'm telling you right now, this is a very precarious... I'm going to be very honest and upfront, right? This is a war story. This is a spy thriller.
No, right? I know. I'm not going to push it.
Okay. I just want everybody to know there is consequences around every fucking corner, okay?
Yeah, in this situation, I don't want to make things worse.
You got to know what you got to do, okay?
Immediately.
Yeah, and so, which is good. I think you made the right choice. Because this person, like, sees you, maybe goes to, like, step up, and Elsie says, so you're going to leave me so soon? I thought you were going to show me your patrol car. And the man said, like, he's kind of looking at you, and at this point, like, Linda, like, pulls you by the arm to go upstairs and, like, wraps her arm around you to give the appearance of, like, you're a couple.
Yeah, I'll and as soon as he's looking at me, I'm not looking at him.
And she whispers in your ear and says, let's go to the room and stay there for a while. We have to trust that sorry, that's not the right voice. Let's go to the room. We have to trust that Avery can do what he is here and paid to do. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And we will check in later. This is not our job. And then so Elsie says that to this man, goes and says, and he says, oh, yeah. Yes, Fräulein. Actually, we can go do that now. And he kind of like looks at his friend and give a look like sort of passes between their eyes of like, I think it's gonna happen for me. Give me a psychology roll, Ace.
Damn, these dice are doing good. That's a 12.
12. Okay. You get to see what Julia missed. Elsie is absolutely playing this guy and trying to get him out of this bar. And trying to get them both out of this bar. And gives you a look of like kind of fall back. I got this. Do you follow? Because they head out of the bar and they begin to walk and talk with his buddy sort of like 10 or 15 feet behind. Do you either follow or send your men to follow?
Me and one other will follow.
Okay, perfect. Give me stealth rolls.
Yeah. Just a regular success.
Okay, perfect. So with the regular success, you have to kind of stay far enough back to where I'm going to narrate what you see. You gotta have to stay far back. And these are, by the way, these are officers. These are clearly like people out on like some sort of either a diplomatic mission or some sort of like maybe collecting some sort of like ill payment from a French government or some kind of thing like that, right? These are not like just foot soldiers, because there's not foot soldiers in Spain at this time, right? Mm-hmm. Anybody that's in Spain right now is an important German officer. And so they have an important German officer car. It is it's a what looks like is probably some sort of impounded equipment, some sort of stolen, probably, but it's a Rolls Royce. It's a very, very nice car. And Elsie enters into the back with this man. And the other one kind of just like looks like it's like a kind of thing that this has happened before. He just kind of goes to the front of this like pretty long car and kind of just like sits and is like flipping a coin. Mm-hmm. After a couple minutes, you see Elsie. You actually will see the door. You'll hear the door creak open on the other side. You'll see Elsie's feet tiptoe underneath the car. And then you'll hear a loud bang. But a suppressed one. Yeah. One that won't carry very far, much further past you. And you see Elsie tuck a small item into her purse as it's probably about midnight right now, walks out of this covered and concealed area and is clearly looking for you. Do you reveal yourself or?
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Yeah, she grabs your arm and says, I believe it's time to retire for the evening, good sir. And let's depart before sunrise. Don't you think?
Probably about 4 a.m. now.
Lovely. And so from there, we were going to meet up in San Cristobal. We are in a small pub that is a area of is a small, like it's like probably like 100-year-old bar, right? Mm-hmm. But it is a known rebel like helper place. It's a place that like not very often, but sometimes helpers will stop by and they know that there's like friends of the liberation forces, right? And so you guys, Alethea, you're in there with Ricardo. You're in there with Ricardo, Rosalia, and Elliot. And sort of any minute now, Flynn and Ace and the rest of the team, the rest of the 6 people, are going to be in this pretty small room. So there's it's not too big, right? It's just like a back storage room kind of thing behind a false wall. Yeah. What's going through everybody's mind? As this is, Alethea, you're about to meet Flynn. You feel as though, I actually will say that like your guys are also on the perimeter. You got, maybe it's just you and Ricardo and your other 3 of your team, or the other 4 of your team, are sort of either on the tree line, are in the bar area, or some form of whatever.
I think as the camera sort of pans in, Alethea is like looking up at Rosalia.
Yes. Large woman.
Yeah. Hi. What did you eat? Your mother eat meat?
I ate whatever was provided for me.
Ah, yes. You are giant.
You are short.
Yes, is a good for hiding in trees.
So as this conversation about height and size and a mutual respect blooms, because Rosalia, there's a refreshing honesty in this person that in both the world that you, and it's also a stark reminder, right? There's you feel an immediate shine towards Alethea because this is a person who, much like Dutch, who much like your father and much like you and much like all your favorite people in the world, is immediate and to the point and without shame, and but also without judgment. There was pure observation, um, but it's also a stark reminder as you look at this person's dress and this person's demeanor that although much more diminutive in size, this is a person as formidable and as tough. You recognize that like same look of a hard life that you saw in Dutch all those years ago. That same look of unresolved trauma being repurposed into fuel for a fight, into fuel for a purpose, into fuel for in changing that like heartbreak and sadness and loss into anger, because anger is more efficient, because anger moves you forward. It does not cause you to sit and stagnate and rot, right? And this is although very different, you are in a different world, and this is just as much of a weapon as the man you once loved. And speaking of weapons, Ace, you guys
before
are,
we get in,
yeah.
I'm going
you guys
to grab
are,
Flynn.
Yeah, I apologize. Yeah. You guys are
That's
walking up.
I'm going to grab Flynn, and it's going to feel like much of a stronger grip than you would think that I would have. And the whole time that you've heard me speak, it has been in a like standard American accent or really good German. I'll pull you really close and like, all right, now listen here, and I want you to listen up really fucking good. You have a role, know your role, do your fucking role, or shut your mouth. Talk about doubt like you did again last night, and you can either remove the doubt or remove yourself from this mission. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And then I'll open the door to let them in.
Yeah, you guys head into a bar. It's a very like Spanish style bar. There's like very old, like they got their old wooden seats and not stools, benches that have like indentations where people have sat for years and created, right? There are ring stains on these tables where generations of people have come and drank their vermouth and eaten some little snacks before their nap.
We've got the huge like jamon iberico hanging.
Yeah,
above the bar.
there are sausage legs or sausage links and ham. There's a big ham leg in the back. There's Chianti wine with the wicker around it and other big older bottles sort of lining along the bar. And there's a singular old man who takes one look at you and says, Buenos noches. Are you friends of the free? And at this point, Linda says, "Oh yes, yes. We are here to meet our free friends, please." And shows a like a coin. And you all are escorted into the back. So Elsie, Ace, and Flynn, you walk in and you see Elliot Fowler sitting next to Rosalia, next to a very short, clearly like a combatant of some sort, right? This is a person who's carrying 2 arms on them, right? You typically have a long arm and a short arm. I would imagine a knife as well. Yeah, some sort of big hunting knife style deal. And then there's another guy, the exact same kind of armament, M1 Garand. It looks like he's actually carrying a Luger that the German eagle has been defaced on, and a red dragon has been painted along the barrel. Who is he's pretty tall, also clearly a combatant. Elsie, and those are the 4 people in this room waiting for you.
Hey, Ongietori, welcome to San Cristobal.
Brujita?
Yes, is cricket?
Yeah, hi.
And like Alethea immediately like pulls you into a hug.
Yeah.
When you guys touch, let me bring up your sheet, Bastion. When you guys touch,
We get this feeling.
Did you send me that in the private message or in the group?
No, I sent it in the group chat.
Actually, it's in my downloads. So I can just bring that back up. Yes. Give me a, because you have occult. Give me an occult roll, and anybody else can give me either a luck or occult roll.
Should I?
Anybody can.
That is a 15. 75.
That is also a 15 on a 75.
Elliot, what'd you get?
I got a 5 on occult, so it's
Okay.
an extreme success.
Okay, so 15 for Flynn, 15 for Alethea.
I
Ace
don't
90.
have occult.
You could roll occult, or you could just roll luck.
Either way, I rolled a 95, so
I think that's technically a fumble.
yeah.
A lucky fumble.
So, are you over 50 or under 50 for luck?
Over 50. But I was rolling occult just to see what happened. But if we can make it luck, we can make it luck.
Should probably make it luck.
No. If it's pick now. Was it luck or was it occult?
It was occult.
Okay, then nothing happens. It's not a fumble. 99 is a fumble on anything lower than 50. If you're over 50, 95 or above is a fumble. I will be enforcing that a little bit more this time. Okay, so anyways, so we'll start with what Alethea and Flynn feel. Flynn, you are taken back to, I believe you were 10? 7 at the time. That's right. Aaron was 10. You were taken back to a time when you were 7, and you had a chance to, and your life changed forever. Right? And that same feeling of everything all at once, of all the good feels, of too much good feels, right, is essentially what it was, an overcharge, an overstimulation of wonderful sensations. You feel that at first. And Alethea, what you feel is the same thing that you felt when you got your much more intentional and less welcoming mark. And you feel ice cold. And you feel malevolence and pain and hurt and the feeling of when you like bite the inside of your cheek, and the feeling of like when you step in water in your socks, and the feeling of when you wake up and you think that you're gonna see that person you loved and cared about your whole life, and you remember that they're dead. Those feelings all coalesce in you, and as you just as you begin to touch, and as you feel as though they interact with each other and reverb, and more is sent back and crossed over. And you feel at what is close to I can describe as a sort of static shock kind of feeling, but there's no physical feeling to it. And with 15s, you both now know you are inextricably linked. Elliot, what did you get again?
I got a 5 on the cold.
Holy fuck. You immediately are reminded of a page you saw in that book 19 years ago. And what you... sorry, 5... you don't remember exactly, but there were these like diagrams, right? Most of the things were written out in pictures as a way to display the rites and rituals that were collected in the book that you had.
Yeah.
Along with different languages, different isolate languages. Basque was one of them. Nahuatl, a lot of like Aboriginal, Inuit, native, indigenous peoples languages, a lot of isolate languages, a lot of different languages translations, but for the most part, it was these images. And what you saw on a couple of pages is a body that is marked by what you remember as a suldumu, which is the proper name of the Watcher.
Oh.
And you didn't really look at this page because you guys were in a hurry, right? So you were kind of just flipping through. But you remember a page where there's a section where these things, it shows like marked, and then it shows, and like this is the close to the section where you went, where you needed for Callum, where the people were marked, and then there's a period where like it shows them separated and they go in different directions, right? The Suldumu and the marked. And then it shows another page where or it shows another like pictogram below it where the Suldumu dies and becomes like a seed or a rock or whatever it is, right? That thing, that cocoon that you saw.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then you see like a pictogram of blood from the marked, and then it goes into the cycle of a Suldumu again. On the pages between that and whatever you see, and the page of the rite and the ritual that you used, right? That's like the overview. What essentially was on a warning page was an intertwining of marked individuals. And you don't remember anything other than that because you did not get a 1. But you remember that these individuals can in some way become intertwined. And you can suffice that Callum, when he spent those 3 days in that forest long ago,
Became marked. The scar on Elliot's hand.
And you are looking at 2 marked individuals that have become linked until there's only one individual or no individuals in front of you.
Cool. The scar on Elliot's hand starts burning white hot. I feel in that moment.
Speaking of scars, the scar on your hand, Julia, changes appearance, as well as the scar on, Flynn, as well as the scar on your collarbone. Now, where there was once a red flesh mark, and where there was once clear, regular-looking scar that looked almost like healed, the skin almost looked tighter and better than the skin around it, yours, Flynn, is infused with red stripes that go through, and Alethia's has what looks like a lighter skin color than is even Alethia's, sort of like tree roots sort of weaved in across of it. And you both feel your scars as what, like that's what is the, like that, you know how like static has a point that it leaves? Mm-hmm. That's kind of where you feel that static feel. But there's not a physical feeling, it's a like inside you feel.
Mine's like under my sleeve, so I don't know if I I definitely don't make it.
You won't see it, but you feel it.
Yeah.
And you
I
don't see
think-
you don't see Alethia's either. But
Right.
whenever you get a chance, that's what they'll look like.
I think on top of all of that overwhelming feeling that you were describing, I also just like was not expecting this person to hug me.
Mhm.
So I think like as I pull away, I'm like keeping my hands on your shoulders. What's your name?
I think. Do you actually like stop the hug, or do you take 5 minutes?
No, not at all. I mean,
Yeah, I think-
I like will gladly.
As you try to pull away, Alethea like holds tighter and like whispers like neither Laguna. Hold me for one moment, please. And you feel her like wipe her eyes where like no one else can see it before like separating. And just has like a broad smile on her face.
What's your name?
Alethea, and Cricket, you.
Flynn.
Cricket is better.
It's so good to see you. You're like a person.
This whole time, yes. And you. You're out on the field. How is it? Is it cold?
I know. I about to say really scary, and then I kind of like remember what Avery said before we went in, and just it's good.
And what are
It's
all
okay.
of the and like she starts like
Yes,
touching
sorry,
all the stuff
hi.
on your backpack.
Oh, this is just radio. Sorry, and I think like looking around the room, Professor Fowler.
Mr. Kochka? What the hell are you doing here?
I kind of fell into a different line of work.
Yeah,
good
I'd
to-
say you didn't last that long in my 201. What the?
Well, good to
How?
see you as well. Small world.
Very frighteningly
Yes.
small.
And it will get smaller if we don't move to business. And Elsie looks at Mr. Marsh, Ace, and says, Sir, I believe you are here for a purpose. Brujita, I take it.
Yes.
You will be our escort. I do so wonderfully appreciate that. My brother is waiting, and he has a rather dashing appearance, and I doubt they've given him a razor to shave, so we need to get there.
Yes, we should waste no time. The time is of the essence.
All right, when do you believe we should head out? I believe you and Ace here can go over those details with Linda.
Yes.
I would rather like to speak to my mother.
Then we will go over details and we leave at the nightfall.
Yeah, and you guys can talk about what your plan is once we get to break and stuff, and like I'll give you that chance to tell me exactly what you want to do over the next 12 hours of morning. And as that conversation is going, shortly midway through it, everybody give me a listen roll.
Extreme success.
Sorry, y'all. I don't like to do planning on screen.
Yeah.
We have limited time, and I also think it adds an air of mystery for you guys to not know what these guys have planned. So
I agree.
I like doing
Extreme
that
success.
stuff. Extreme
Hard
success.
Regular success.
Failure.
Anybody who failed or is not or had a regular success, or if you failed, you don't hear anything. If you had a regular success, you hear what is unmistakably the sound of a door being kicked in. Ace, with an extreme success, there are boots surrounding this place. Or at
Wait,
least
what
like
did you get
heading
with a hard success.
in. With a hard success, you hear there's a lot of people flooding into that like main zone. There is an
Awesome.
yeah.
Like into the bar Where we're behind
into
a
the
false
front
wall
bar
of, correct?
area. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the way you guys got led through. There's the bar area. There's the storage area where there was a bunch of like big barrels of wine and like the stuff that they use to rebottle and stuff, right? Wholesale size. And then there's a false wall in there to where you guys are.
Okay. Since we're kind of in like just the midst of planning, I will look at Alethea and be like, well, I'm going to hope that those weapons on your back aren't just for show. And like slowly pull out a 1911 that I have.
Are you
I just tell everyone like,
threatening me?
quiet. No. Why would I threaten you? Be quiet and listen for a moment. Can I hear, like, as they're getting closer, can I tell if there's a good opportunity?
Now you guys are starting to hear shouting. And you hear, where are they?
I have to imagine there's a second exit.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Very smart. Yeah, there is through the back. There is like it's what goes into what looks like it would go what from the outside looks like it goes into like a oh my god, a cellar. Sorry. A cellar door. But it actually goes into here. And it locks from the inside with a big bolt. So you can kind of like crawl down and then through like a small tunnel and up out of this cellar door.
Cricket, Dottore, non-combatants first. Through here, quick.
Okay.
Cricket or Flynn, the immediate thing you see as you pop up is a group of 8 German soldiers with their guns pointed at you.
At me?
Yes. And that is what everybody sees as they come up. You have a chance as you come up, I would imagine the combatants with their guns at the ready.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do?
I don't negotiate with Nazis. I'm shooting.
Neither does Elsie. She pulls a 44 from the thigh of her Gardier and begins, and she starts blasting.
I guess I'm also pulling my gun.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pulling my gun from underneath my dress,
4.
the same place my Colt 45, and I'm a throw.
What's
Elliot's
everybody's?
gonna try
Give me everybody's dex real quick.
65.
63.
Wait, you want us to roll or just say what our stat is?
Yeah, what it is.
Oh, 55.
Mine
Okay.
is also 55.
Okay.
Mine's a 75.
Boom. Elliot, what was yours?
63.
Okay, everybody is over 50, so you are better than a standard German soldier. So you guys all shoot first.
Great. I think we're all
Give me
shooting.
the rolls. Yeah.
That was a
Elsie
hard
shoots first,
success. And I will deal... hold on, let me get to it.
We're rolling firearms.
Yes.
Yes, correct. I rolled max damage. What is that for this bitch? It's like a 12, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a 12 damage on my first shot.
Head gone.
I got 11
Holy
damage
shit.
on my shot.
Through the
I
neck,
Meets it.
arterial spray goes down. What'd you get, Flynn?
I got a meets it, beats it, 5 damage.
5 damage. You get somebody in the shoulder. You were taught aim center mass. You aim center mass. You don't account for kickback, and you aim a little high. Clip somebody in the shoulder. They're still standing. Rosalia.
I got like a hard success or whatever, and I rolled max damage, so that's 12 points of damage for one attack.
Yeah, through the eye. Another one down. So that's 4 or 3, and then let me roll Elsie. Holy shit! I rolled a 1, so that person's gone.
But say Elsie and I probably have it where she knows to like balance the gun on my shoulder or something.
Yep. Yeah.
You're gonna get tinnitus.
I don't.
Yeah, it is extremely loud immediately. Fowler?
Elliot, bad at guns Fowler, rolled a 56 on a 43.
Yeah, nothing bad happens, but you overcompensate because you had just done a week of gun training, and you end up shooting into the dirt, which leaves us with, what do we get?
Elliot
1,
hasn't
2, 3,
touched a gun in
4.
19 years.
And then I'll roll for Linda. Linda rolled a 37. Hey, that's just enough to kill this guy. So we took out 5 of the 8. Now 3 shots will ring out back. Let's see who lives and who dies. That's a 7.
Dodge.
Can't dodge bullets.
Can't dodge bullets. That's a failure.
You don't know me.
I do.
That is a pass. Okay, so we got 2 shots. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 people, so I'm gonna roll a D8 if I can find one right here.
I think Alethea has definitely stepped out.
Oh, Ricardo! I forgot about Ricardo. Let me see really quick. Sorry. I knew that was missing one person. Ricardo's gun
You malfunction it.
jams.
Damn it.
Fuck.
He's the one who's good at it.
Yes.
Alethea is definitely also going to position herself in front of
Yeah.
Flynn and Linda specifically.
Beautiful. You do that, and it gives the perfect opening for Elliot Fowler to get shot in the collarbone. To take... Oh, sorry, wrong die. Take 6 damage.
Okay.
I rolled
All
really
right.
low. Yeah,
I'm breathing.
through and through, you don't feel bones chatter. You think it might have went meat to meat. Roll again. Let's see what we got.
I hate that phrase, meat to meat.
I got an 11, so an extreme success this time.
I miss.
Ooh!
And another
I got a-
max damage.
I got a 4. That's my first extreme success
Beautiful.
in all of Cthulhu so far.
In all of Cthulhu.
Okay. Let's keep it
Okay.
moving. What we got? What we
That's
got?
Elliot.
Good.
Elliot got a hard success.
Damage.
8 points.
Okay, 1 more down. 2 more left. What do you get for damage, Rosalia?
5.
5. 1's halfway down. What'd you get for damage, Bastion?
15.
The first
Max
person
damage.
gets shot in the gut by Rosalia. Alethea, you didn't even fully get out of your little foxhole, and as that one takes a shot to the gut and kind of bends over, he gets in the line of your shot, and through his eye and out the back of his head, the debris and bullet comes through the neck of the next soldier, and they are both dead. Everybody is dead. That is around you. There are 2 people in the bar. We can say that gets dealt with very quickly, very easily. You guys meet up out back, kind of where you were, or what do you want to do after you kind of deal with these 2 people?
Well, before we go, can I steal a uniform or check pockets to see if there's if
great
I
idea.
need to disguise myself or something like that?
Yeah. I could say you
grab some
guys
sort of
strip a
something?
couple of these guys that have the least amount of blood on their uniform.
Oh, and or
There
weapons.
was just a bloody massacre. So yeah, I'll say you guys get 8 more guns if you want to carry them.
No.
Yeah,
And then
I was
I'll
gonna
probably
say
try to gather people outside because I
Yeah.
don't want to be trapped inside.
exactly.
Does
That's what I'm
Elliot need does it look like he needs immediate medical attention?
No, he is a doctor.
Uh,
He can take care of himself.
Not that kind.
No,
Not that kind.
Just stick something in it. It's
No,
fine.
it's bleeding, obviously, right? But it's not like pouring. There's no arterial. There's no it doesn't look like it hit a vein or an artery. It looks like it went through
Well,
in
I'd love to
a
see
near
if I could do
perfect
some
spot.
I'd love to see if I can do some first aid.
Yeah,
to
I think
help
that's a
out
good
my best
idea.
friend.
So you guys relocate right behind the
Oh,
building,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll say that
So we're
you
not
roll
trapped
that.
inside.
you'll do that. You can also move like 50 feet away to the bush, like kind of area. Like
I think
you don't have to stay at this location that's hot, right?
definitely.
I'm just saying,
Alethea's like,
what's the plan immediately after you deal with the two in the bar? We'll just brush past that.
Yeah.
And then where do you go to meet right now?
push to the forest.
Is there some sort of alley? Okay.
Yeah.
Alethea's gonna push
Alethea,
towards
you
the
are
forest.
not too far from a very familiar place to you
That's-
that you left a long time ago.
Exactly where I want to go is the hideout.
Okay, so you guys are at the hideout. Rosalia, give me that check. Linda is
Medicine or first aid?
first aid. Linda is inconsolable.
I'm definitely just like got a hand around her.
Yeah,
trying to
she's
calm her
like
down.
full weeping. Has emptied the contents of their stomach a couple times. Just keeps saying there was so much blood. That person's head was there, and then it
It's
wasn't.
okay, Lynn. It's
Oh
okay.
my God, what's going
okay.
on? I wasn't. This is not what I signed up for.
Hey, look at me. Look at me.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. We're gonna die.
It's okay. They weren't using their brains anyways.
Fucking die. We're gonna
Alethea.
die. We're gonna fucking die. We're gonna fucking
No, Linda, hey,
Oh my God.
just breathe.
Okay. We need to get out of here. Right now.
Everyone needs to get out of here.
Yeah, well, okay, but no, like they can go do what they're here to do, and we need to get out of here.
Linda, we have a job.
Yeah, our job was to escort them here, and they're here. I am not a scout. They are scouts. Brujita, she gives the worst salute you've ever seen. It's just- and at this point, Ricardo comes up.
Uh-oh.
Grabs this woman by the collar and shakes her and says, sorry, get a hold of yourself
Hey,
right now. You will give away our position if you do not shut that fucking pie hole of yours. If you need to weep, then weep silently. If your tears need to fall, then let them fall and let them be nobody else's burden. I will not see more lives lost tonight because you cannot get your fucking shit together. If you need to leave, then leave and cower away with your tail between your legs. There is stuff to be done. And you will only be in the way. And he kind of like lets her go. And walks away.
how's Linda looking after that?
Catatonic.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna like sit her down, just like give her some of my water, just like make sure she's good.
Avery, what are you doing right now?
So from this hideout, is there a spot where there is like towards the entrance of it where I can look out? and
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sure
It's
no one is coming
it's like
up towards
it's
us?
like one of those rock formations. Like you ever
Yeah.
been to like Yellowstone or any of like the national parks
Yeah.
where these like old ass rocks like fall into these like kind of things, and there's like this like almost like a cave or whatever.
So I want to be out towards the entrance of that, looking
Yeah.
down to see if there are other officers or soldiers coming up towards us.
Yeah, your whole team came. Your whole team is like stationed right there with you. They're also out waiting. It doesn't seem like you don't see anything. At this point, Ricardo is also standing next to you. He kind of like walked away to get like fresh air, even though this is all open.
I'll hand him
and-
I'll shake his hand as he walks by.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you did the right thing.
Yeah, and Alethea, as you walk up as well to kind of give these people some space, these non-combatants some space, I think it makes sense. Maybe Elliot and Rosalia, do you also kind of give Flynn and maybe Linda some time? Or Flynn, you could even give Linda a moment to just kind of like collect
I'll
themselves.
like ask her, is she do you want me to stay with you or do
And she
you-
just kind of does like one of these, like, I don't really care. I'm just like, and it's just kind of like doing some self-soothing stuff.
Okay, I'll just
Yeah.
look by her. I'll give Elliot and Rosalia a look, just like
Yeah, so I'll say you guys are all at the Cave of the Mouth. What's the plan? You hear Ricardo say,
Elliot,
what is the plan?
Elliot kind of pulls through his bag and takes out the package that he has to hand off to Alicia that he should have done at the bar, but shit kind of went sideways really quick. So
Yeah. Alethea, do you open the package immediately? This is what this is from Dan Darling.
Yeah.
This is the person who tipped you off that what you're looking for is in the forest,
Uh,
in the mountains.
I think Alethea does open it immediately, but not like in front of everyone. She like takes a couple steps away to like
Yeah.
not like trying to
yeah,
like
you can-
hide if anyone like actually wants
Yeah. Yeah, and Ricardo, like, you can just step a few feet away. There's like another rock that you can kind of sit on. It's kind of like what you looked as like, your lookout when you were little. You would stand up on it, but it's really only like 3.5 feet tall, so you could sit on it now. Your feet still dangle a little bit, and Ricardo kind of stands guard to give everybody a little bit of a. But you're only like 2 or 3 feet away, enough that people can't really look over your shoulder, but that you're far enough away to get like privacy to look at this thing that you need to look at.
These rocks, they used to look like mountains. Pull open the package.
It is always unsettling how much our perspective of the world changes, and how much that change affects the way we navigate this world, isn't it?
It is scary.
Speaking of which, when you open that, you see a picture of a grimoire that looks... you ever seen the color of old blood or like blood in like really low light?
Yeah.
It looks black. But there's that unmistakable tinge of red underneath. And that's what this book looks like. And you see pictures of it, and you see pictures of this lab, and you see, and you have just a very small note that is on that like filament paper that burns up. And it says, what you're looking for is in the lab. Don't let them take it. DD.
Yeah. And she...
Avery Marsh, give me a spot hidden.
That is a 19.
Can I combat that with a stealth?
I would love that. I was just about to say you could give me a stealth or a... I was going to say obfuscate, but that's a completely different game.
Completely different name. All right.
That's vampires.
That is a 25 out of 80.
Okay, so that's a hard success, right?
Yeah.
But not extreme?
Yep. Not extreme.
And then you're both hard?
Yeah,
We're both hard.
Thank you for both being hard for me. We are...
Do we have a hard off now?
Meets it, beats it? No, meets it, beats it. So Alethea is able to keep it a little shy, but as you are kind of like, you don't even look up so you don't make it obvious, because you've done this shit before, Alethea. You feel the feel of somebody looking over your shoulder. You have a preternatural sense of these things, which is why now I need a listen roll from everybody. Flynn, give me one at disadvantage. And I'll say, actually, Alethea, you give me one at disadvantage, too, because you're kind of locked in to what you're doing.
But
So roll your
David, I got a
template.
2.
Damn it. Yeah,
One
that's
more.
a failure for me.
Okay.
And now it's a 62.
Okay. Yeah,
Extreme
Flynn...
success.
I got a hard success, got a 17.
Just a regular one.
Mine's
Okay.
a fail.
Flynn, you hear something, but it could be they dropped something outside or the butt of a gun hit the floor or something. There's just like some sort of small pop slash.
I think while I'm on my own and Linda's in her own whatever, I'm gonna roll up my sleeve and look at my scars.
We are in narrate mode. You can do that in 1 second.
Yeah,
So-
I got you, just letting you know.
So you hear what sounds like a small clap sound or drop sound or a pop sound, maybe. That sounds really far away. Alethea, your preternatural sense always serves you well, which is why you were able to like shield this from what is very clearly a prying eye. Unfortunately, that effort to distract and obfuscate blinds you from a sound that you've been dreading hearing for weeks.
Uh-oh.
And what you don't hear that Rosalia and Elliot do is the clear sound of gunfire very far away. And as they turn, and as everybody turns up to see the source of the sound, Alethea sees Avery Marsh's brains splattered onto the page of his book, or her book, her little jacket, her file. run. And yeah, you hear very quickly after Ace's head is expended onto this photograph in your hands, Alethea, you hear Ricardo say, once again, run, as he's grabbing you up to go. I need a con roll from everybody, please. We are going to begin a chase.
Not a great start, Alethea.
Oh. Extreme success.
Boom.
Failure.
Regular success.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna say it wasn't a fumble, but it was a failure and it was a 94.
Damn, that's close.
It's so close.
Can I help Alethea in any way?
You are inside, Alethea's outside. So
Right, okay.
even if you could, you can't.
How
But-
close are all of us to Ace?
You three are very close. You guys all went outside. Flynn
Okay.
stood inside.
I'm with Linda.
Yeah,
I just
with
wanted to
Linda.
see if we could grab all that he had on his body, just in case. The more
So
things we have, the the better,
yeah.
if possible.
So it was a group roll. The extreme success puts you 3-2, so you guys all succeed. You maintain your move speed, and then I will roll for this guy who doesn't really care because he can hit you from so far away. We are off to a bad start. Okay, not a fumble. Rolled a 93. So
Dang.
yeah, so you guys will gain, and let me roll a d4 to see how many rounds until you create enough separation. So this is a bit of history facts for everybody. The longest shot hit in World War II was a half mile. You are currently about a quarter mile away, you would guess, based on the distance of the sound. So what we are doing here, there we go. Let's look for a d4. Rough. 3 rounds. So what we are doing here is in 3 rounds, you will create enough distance to be far enough out of his range. Each round, he gets 2 shots. You have 5 more people of Ace's crew and 4 more of Alethea, right? Because I think it was you, Ricardo, and 4 more.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So let's hope those body sponges work, guys. Give me some skills to avoid being shot. So what I'm looking for here is any sort of creativity from you in a way that you think one of the skills on your list is going to help you guys either obfuscate, hide, get away, trip some people behind you that you may not care about coming with. Whatever, right? This is Cthulhu, right? So it is whatever you need to do, whatever you feel the need to do as this danger closes in. So, do we want to go random first, or does somebody want to volunteer?
I'd like to volunteer.
Hell yeah.
So, Alethea is home. This isn't just a forest. This is her forest. So, what I want to do is I want to call down a mist to spread through the trees and focused around her, but ideally to obfuscate as many people as possible and make that sniper's life difficult.
I love that. That would give, that sounds like you're trying to cast the first spell.
It sure does, David.
Mythos of War. So yeah, give us, I think a good place to go back to, I don't know exactly what you were thinking, is maybe when you learned this spell. A time, whether Abuelita, or if you stumbled on this in your own throughout some of your searchings of libraries and some of these missions that the Catholic Church have out there that have some ancient stolen grimoires like the Red Dragon or other works of your region. Go ahead and give us some insight into when Alethea found this spell.
Yeah, I think the scene sort of opened during a typical sort of foraging with her abuelita, where they're out in the woods gathering mushrooms and like fruits and herbs and things like that. And abuelita is that feels weird to say with an American accent. Hold on, let me. But abuela is explaining to Alethea where the town Nieblas got its name from. That in forgotten history, at some point, this town was under attack. And the people living there at that time were able to call down this mist, and the town itself got a reputation from that, from using the mist to defend itself, to obfuscate, to hide the buildings, the people, to protect and defend this place that it got named after that mist, that Nieblas.
Yeah, the Pyrenees Mountains are a harsh environment, right? It's extremely harsh, even for many of the wild animals and the fauna and stuff. It has an incredibly high biodiversity due to so many things going there and either going extinct or going adapting rapidly and their population shrinking and different things like that, right? And so I think like as she goes to is explaining to you, hijita, siéntate, and is showing you this sort of like mushroom and how to look at the bundles to pick off, and showing you the cycles of regrowth, right? How these mushrooms feed off of the waste and some of the other stuff in these fields, and they grow and they provide sustenance to us and to these other animals, and then shows you just a few feet away a pile of mushrooms that looks almost exactly the same, and as you go to reach for it, sort of grabs your wrist. It shows you how just a small slight differ, right? And on the underside, there's a couple red dots. And it's this idea of signifying these different things of death. And as she's explaining this, I think you hear, you'll just say you hear a small wolf growl. You hear a little muttering under Abuelita's breath. And suddenly you're surrounded by mist. And she says to you, "Do not be afraid, mijita. I will guide you." And those are the words that are whispered on your ear as you cast your spell. So go ahead and give me a occult roll.
All right. If this fails, it's Abuela's fault.
If you fail, it's not bad. If it's a fumble, pretty bad.
All right. That is a 61. That's a pass.
Pass. Perfect. Okay, so let me roll. Okay, so yeah, the first shot, or I should say the second shot, that'll make more sense for you calling it down. He shoots this round, will be at disadvantage. No fucking way.
Oh no. Good way or bad way?
Not great.
Oh. Not great for you.
Not great for you guys.
Oh.
Oh no.
As you call down the mist and you see Ricardo muttering under his breath his pre-battle like his sort of prayer to the universe, you see some of that mist become red, just at the edges. And so it did help you though. Again, the next round will be at disadvantage as well. So next, who wants to go next?
So are you saying that Ricardo got shot?
No, Ricardo did not get shot.
Okay.
Two randos. We're still
Two
on the
randos.
randos.
Okay.
Yeah. Essentially, if you guys don't get away, if somebody falls or whatever one of these skill checks fails enough to make you fall behind a round, and you run out of chumps, then there's no more chumps to shoot, right? Or if you fumble so bad and you try to push a roll and fumble, for example, maybe you become the chump. So, who wants to go next?
Because I'm inside, would that allow me a little more time?
More time for what?
I don't know.
If anything, it would give you less time. So we're just going to pretend that it doesn't matter.
But I'm like hearing the shot and I'm hearing the call to run.
Yeah. You hear that and you hear run from Linda is a little shook. I guess I could roll for Linda.
Yeah. Also, where is Elsie right now?
Elsie was outside with Rosalia.
Okay.
Linda.
I was going to ask that.
Linda immediately springs into action with a 3. I'm rolling hot today, guys. This
Okay,
is not
good for her. Yeah.
Yeah. Linda comes in hot. She's with it. Whatever you need. Even though she's the CO, there is an instinctual sort of like looks to you.
Yeah.
Because you are the outside kid.
Yeah. So I guess the only thing that makes sense to roll to me is stealth, but my stealth is not great.
You gotta do what you gotta do, girly pop.
You wouldn't let me do just like a flat dex check, right?
I'll let you do a dex check, but if you fail, not a fumble, then you guys become even. And then we'll have to succeed or succeed with style for him to fall back round again behind a round.
I'll take my chances with the stealth. It's fine. I can always push it if I want to.
You got luck points.
Oh my god, meets it, beats it.
Beautiful. Love to hear it. So tell me what Flynn does similar to what he may have done with Aaron way back in Nebraska when they ran through the fields of
Anselmo,
Nebraska. When they ran through the fields of Anselmo, Nebraska, all those summers ago.
So there were times where kids were just being stupid and picking on us. There were times where kids were violent. There were times where we couldn't talk our way out of things. And, you know, sometimes Aaron was too tired to beat someone's ass again. So he would just grab my wrist or put me on his back, or we'd take our bikes and we'd just go straight home until they got tired or until we lost them or until we made it home to kind of like home base and then our mom could take care of it.
Yeah.
So I can tell the difference between like run and hide and run and wait it out.
Yeah. And I think some of the times too, right, in addition to like run and wait it out, and maybe you're like surrounded or whatever, right? One of the ways that you remember Aaron, one of the first time you did it, that first summer when you were 7, and you were so scared, and you're running alongside this train that had just stopped before it got over the bridge, so it hadn't quite picked up speed yet, and Aaron had already jumped on, and he's looking at you, and he's saying, "Come on, Flynn, you can do it. You can do it. Just reach out. I'm here for you. We can do it." And as you jump and you slip a little, your hand a little sweaty on the pole, sure enough, Aaron's there to grab you by the arm and shoulder, and you guys both kind of tumble in. And you're breathing heavy, trying to catch your breath, and you feel real fear in Aaron's body, but you can't name that yet. At the time, you just felt like he was tense and he felt strong and safe. But as you think about it now as your body. You feel the tension in your body. You recognize the tension of fear in this memory. And as he's holding you, he says, no matter what, it's me and you. I always got your back. And those are the words on your ears as you sort of weave through some of these rocks and these trees, trying to obfuscate the sight line between you and Linda. And you succeed. Let me roll. Fuck. Oh, just got to get another one. Every session, I drop a die. God damn, that's a 14. And that is a 43, so that hits. Okay. 62 and 32. Hot. To be fair, this guy's shoot is pretty high, so boom. Yeah, done. Another 2. One of them actually, you hear he's yelling, run, spread out so he can't. And you hear the slush sound of a bullet pass through meat, and then you hear the panicked of lungs attempting to contract, attempting to pull air in. And maybe if it wasn't so loud and you couldn't hear your heart in your ears and taste the sweat in your mouth, you would hear the sound of a whistle as air flows through these torn apart lungs just before a body hits the floor. Who's next? Rosalia.
Okay. How far are we from a place that we could get cover and run? Or are we just running?
You are in the foothills of a mountain. This is a coniferous forest. God damn, girl. Elsie rolled a 40. She's good.
Okay.
Sorry, what'd you ask?
I just wanted to know, like, if we go into the forest, we'll be more and more out of view.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what you're running towards, right? Is a more obfuscated sightline. It's that thing. So the community of San Cristobal is sort of at the foothills of the mountain, but in the way that the Pyrenees are, it is kind of like the like Appalachia in the way that, like, it's not like the Rockies, right? Where it's just like small amount of forest, sheer cliff face, right? And like high steeped out mountain rock faces, right? These are older mountains, more rounded. Sediment and wind and storm have sort of evened some of these slopes out to a far degree, at least, right? The peaks get high and it gets dangerous the deeper you get in, but the edges of these communities are at more spread out. Think shitty Twilight Forest is like not quite where you are.
Okay, well, there are people that were
it's
with...
like this forest was developed for cinematic shots. These trees provide such good framing.
So there's still people left from, like, Avery's thing, like, sent with the U.S.
There is... Actually, let me roll really quick.
And question, was I helping fund that?
You paid for all of that already.
Okay.
Two of Alicia's crew and 2 of Avery's crew have gone down. So there's 3 of Avery's crew and there's 2 of Alicia's freedom fighters.
Okay, so I would like to use either Persuade or Charm to get one of the people that I am paying to protect me to be my meat shield and run so that we can go, so that if a shot's going to be fired, it's going into him first.
Okay. We're going to negotiate a little bit. I don't really like to do this. So I will tell you, right, regardless of how much you're paying someone, like, bullets start flying, right? So the most I would say you can do for persuasion, if you want to use persuasion, and I want you to use your highest skill, is don't be a coward, fight back kind of thing. right? You could use intimidation, you could use
Yeah,
provoke or something like
my
that, I would say, more so than die for me because I paid you money that you're not going
oh
to use because you're
yeah,
going to die. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think
definitely.
that is compelling.
I think then I'll do the intimidate, because my intimidate and persuade are the same thing. So, beautiful. One away, hard success.
Yeah, and I think with that, I'll take the driver's seat a little bit here. You reminded a memory of your father. You were in his office at home, actually, and he has just let go a few members of the staff. You're very, very young. The family's still struggling financially a bit. Your grandfather had just passed maybe a year or two ago, and your father has just taken over everything, right? And one of the things that you had heard, and that's sort of what brought you in here, right? One of the things that you've overheard, because even as a little girl, you've been incredibly astute and wildly observational, right? You soak in everything. There's not very much that gets past you. And you, as much as you didn't understand it necessarily, you know that like, as you don't have as much money as you thought, and things aren't bad yet, but they are scary. And that's kind of what your dad has been doing as he's, when you got older, you would realize your grandfather was essentially trying to live up to the past, right? Of like, we are an important family, therefore we need this number of staff, therefore we need these amenities. That is what people of our station do. And even as the business and the income dipped, he began to deplete the trust and some other things. And these are, you were sent to your father's office to bring him his lunch because you don't have that much staff on hand anymore. And you pass a man openly weeping in the hallway, I've lost it all. What am I gonna tell my wife? And that's what you hear as you like walk into the office, and your father says, "Ah, yes, Rosalia, is that my lunch?"
Yes, Father.
Wonderful, bring it here, bring it around. Thank you. And what have you up to today, doll?
What? I was just going to, like, why was that person crying in the hallway?
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. What else do you have planned?
I plan on going on a nice walk. Maybe walking around the estate. Are you... Father?
Yes. Walking.
Are you listening to me?
I'm sorry. What, let me put this down. My sweet girl, what is it you need?
I just want to spend some time with you. May I sit with you for lunch?
Yes. Here, come here. Do you want to learn something?
Yeah.
And he shows you an account book, and he shows you, right, overdrawn. He shows you owed. And he says, you see, Rosalia, unfortunately, life too often is determined by the quality of your life is determined by those who came before you. And your grandfather, God rest his soul, was a fool. So we are dealing with a fool's mess. And what's worse is he was not only a fool, but he was a coward. He was a man who could not stand up to those beneath him and tell them, I'm not going to pay you anymore. Your services are no longer needed. Pride is good, but pride is a double-edged sword, and it's one your grandfather fell upon. Both unable and inept at being able to do what was necessary. In difficult times, you always must do what is necessary to save your family. Damn everybody else. That is why that man in the hallway cried. Because he is not who I am in charge of keeping safe. And he boops your little nose and says, you are. And then... Holy fuck, dude.
Stop rolling
You have
good.
to stop.
That's like the 6th 0 on the
No,
10th
You have
place.
to stop this.
And then it was followed by a 2.
Gonna get the
Oh
spray
my-
bottle. Up you go.
Okay, we're dangerously close to a failure. Oh! Fumble. Okay.
Okay.
As you say to this man, what does Rosalia say to this man to get him to stop running and maybe try to fight? Because he's got a gun.
Yeah. Don't be a fucking coward. Protect who you're supposed to protect. Let's go.
Dig deep and find your spine, boy. Elliot hears on the wind as this fog carries the voice of Rosalia channeling Senor Montague. And that stops Elliot in his tracks for one brief second, and it was just enough because as you stop Elliot, you feel the heat and wind of a bullet almost turn your face as you can't quite match the speed of it, and where there was once a whole human is a headless corpse that falls to the ground onto his rifle, bayoneting himself, making a monument to death.
Elliot is suddenly scared of guns again.
Elliot!
That stopped at some point?
Yes, it did.
Elliot!
hmm
Once again, my old friend, it's down to you. What does Elliot do? If you succeed this roll, you guys get away successfully. No more deaths.
No
We got
pressure.
5 deaths.
No pressure.
No more. Oh, let me roll a d20 to see if that was one of Yep, that was one of Ace's guys. So there's 2 and 2 left.
Okay. If I feel like Elliot would have been briefed on like maps and all that kind of stuff about like surrounding area. Would I use a navigate roll to kind of find like the best like passageways to like get like clear coverage and like
I fucking
like
love
secret...
that. Yeah. Let's use let's use navigate to
All right.
to dig deep into those maps that you've already briefed, and this will help you essentially know on the location where there's somewhere nearby you can find.
That is a hard success.
Okay, perfect.
Thank God.
So that means, let me roll real quick. Okay. He only gets 1 shot this time, and it was at disadvantage, but he still makes it.
God damn
Because he
it.
had to clear his gun. He had a misfire with the fumble. And then let me roll a d20, because that will... Oh, rough, dude. Rolled from a 16 to a 3. It is Ricardo, Alicia, and 1 freedom fighter left, as well as 2 of Ace's crew that you guys have going in to the forest. And what I think we go back to a time in the Pacific Northwest where 2 young researchers in their early 30s who are not quite more than friends yet are already partners. No, you're wrong, Elliot, Charlie says as he looks at the map and says, we can't we're lost. You got us lost.
I didn't
We
get us
need to
lost.
double
I'm
back.
following the maps that we were given from the locals.
Yeah, but you followed it wrong. If we go any further, we're going
How
to
do
be
you
stuck out here
follow
for the
a map
night.
wrong? I'm
I don't know, you
following it
tell
the
me,
way
you
I'm
did it.
looking at it. What the fuck do you mean I got us lost?
I mean, you were in charge of the navigation, and I
Oh
was
my
in charge
God.
of the food. We got it. Like, we know the last sightings of this thing. We have a chance to do something so cool.
I know. I checked my compass like 8 times before we got on the path. There's no way I can be wrong about this.
Okay, let's remember those words.
I'm sorry?
And you do remember those words as a can of beans is warming over a fire, and you guys are actually fully, completely lost.
Great.
And Charlie and you things have like smoothed over, and it's just kind of a funny thing now that you guys were just trying to save money and not hiring a guide, and you thought you could do it, and Olympic National Park is a little bigger than you thought. It's a little scarier than you thought. The trees are a little taller than you thought. This ain't no East Coast little molehills you guys call mountains out there.
Nope.
So as you're sitting around the fire, give me a psychology check. As you tell, what story are you telling Charlie, around this campfire?
I think he is telling Charlie about like a few of his like first like endeavors traveling the world with Harrington, trying to like go through like.
Okay, so you're
Please.
telling Charlie about your adventures, and I think Charlie responds, "Wait, you're fucking lying. The
No.
Harrington wasn't the Harrington? His name was what? What did you
No.
say?
His name is Lawrence.
Lawrence? Insane.
He's his brother.
How do people not know this?
I don't know.
Why
I mean,
haven't you told anybody?
I mean, it was what? He started exploring the early 1900s?
Yeah, but you could probably sell like a story to one of these rags or even a newspaper. People would.
And he had
people would
money
buy
for that.
Story. No,
He probably
you
had money
could
to pay
sell
off the
it.
papers. Who would
Yeah,
listen
but
to
I mean, once he
who
was
would
dead,
listen to me
why
though?
didn't you tell anybody post Sophia?
I don't know.
Why didn't
I don't know.
Elliot tell anybody post Sophia?
Because Elliot's trying really hard to run away from the Sophia.
And
And
as you
everything
run
that
away
happened
from
on
the
that boat.
Sophia and the memories of that boat, and you give me a psychology check.
I rolled the psychology check and I got an extreme success with a 3.
Elliot, you feel a pull at the back of your navel and a flutter in your stomach that you haven't felt since Dutch put his very large hand on your shoulder, turned you around, and yelled at you a little too loud. And from there, we move towards you seeing a young Spanish man stop, turn, and Elliot speaks Spanish, right?
I guess we don't have any languages on his character sheet.
I would imagine he speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
He's a polyglot. That was what we had established in the first series. So,
Sure.
Elliot, in Spanish, you hear a young man say to himself, "I will run no more." Pop. And you guys get away. It was not Ricardo. That was Elliot.
Okay.
Yeah, he's fine. You guys get away.
Oh,
What did he say? I didn't hear that.
I will
I will
run
not.
no more.
I will run no more.
oh.
Yeah, as someone who also speaks Spanish, did I hear that? Or was that...
Yeah, I can say anybody who wanted to hear it heard it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what you guys have as you stumble upon a sheer-faced hill that if you didn't know it was coming, Elliot, you may have fallen down and rolled down. And instead, you gently take everybody down, and you know that you've cut off. It's essentially like a small gulch, like it's like a cutout cliff. Alethea, this is a very specifically, you remember this place, and as you cut off the sightline of this shooter, you see a formation of rocks that would provide some small shelter to a small group of people running for their lives.
Yeah.
And that's where we'll pick up next time. Thank you all. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.